Greetings, humans and other resident aliens on Earth. I'm Mr. Smock of Vulcan, back after a holiday on my home planet. I'm with the captain here from Pop Culture Fun Malaysia. We will be talking today on the top 10 movies of 2017. If you have missed these and our picks are among the Geek Pop Culture selection, then it is a time for you to catch up on these movies as we are generally in this off season for the major movie release from Hollywood. So you can catch up with some of these titles from last year to entertain your geekiness for the weekend. Our top 10 list is not in any particular order or ranking from first to last. It is more in order. We've grouped it according to subgenres, which relates to, of course, Marvel superhero movies, then DC, then as the locals say, Dan Nine Nine.
So you speaker BM.
That was actually the universal translator.
So alright. It's a nice one.
Thank you, Captain.
Yeah.
So let's start first with an offering which happened early last year from the Marvel Fox universe, which was Logan, the third movie for Wolverine as played by Hugh Jackman, and the closing off to a trilogy of movies featuring Marvel's favorite mutant. Arguably, he is not my favorite mutant, but a lot of fans really adore Wolverine, or perhaps it's also the charisma of Hugh Jackman. So this last movie is also written as a send-off to Hugh Jackman for his portrayal of Logan, Wolverine, over the last 15, 16 odd years since his debut in the first X-Men movie, which would have taken place in
the year 2000.
Correct. And it is a very, for once I think, emotionally gripping movie. Centered around, of course, the character of Logan himself, as well as Professor X, very much aged and suffering from mental dementia, with dangerous repercussions due to his mutant telepathic powers, and introducing the new potential Wolverine, which is Wolverine's unintended daughter, X-23. So it is also the first R-rated X movie. Well, not really. Should we say Deadpool was the first R-rated X movie, but
But they
Deadpool's not
continue
quite X, and
in the line with the R genre rating for movies.
yes, and I think particularly such that Deadpool in the previous year was such a hit, Fox made the decision to go with the R rating for Logan, and I think it has paid off very well in depicting the feral mutant in the way that he is meant to be, especially when you get into the berserker rage of dismembering those at the end of his claws. So if you missed out in Logan, do catch up with this movie, now obviously available on DVD and Blu-ray. Our next Marvel movie is from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, a straight direct sequel to the hit movie which took place 3 years earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, which is, you would say psychedelic, but we'll get to that a bit later, but it's a very
Out of this world
romp, yes, out of this world, in a vision of the Marvel universe, off-planet, adventuring about the galaxy, kind of in what we do in Star Trek, except that
and more colors though,
with more colors, more death-defying physics, which make less sense to the more scientific oriented, but nevertheless it is much more fun in a way that the charisma of the lead character Star-Lord, played by Chris Pratt, is I think a great pull with and together with his family of
The Wild Bunch.
misfits,
Yeah.
which also brings in new characters, and we have this sort of engaging father-son story with Star-Lord finding his
Origin story, no?
progenitor father, yes.
Origin story.
Yes,
Yeah,
an
which is
origin
huge.
story, which is what, although it's volume 2 in the sequel of movies. So go and catch that if you can. It's also out on Blu-ray and DVD or other sources. Okay.
Yeah, they're also colorful, and enjoyed that it was shot in IMAX. So certain scenes were shot in IMAX, and yeah, wow, interplanetary travel, and just like our friend here from a different timeline and planet.
If you'd also do enjoy nostalgic 1980s music, you can also press play and just listen to that soundtrack.
Volume 2.
Over to you, Captain.
Well, after last year's Captain America Civil War, with the debut of Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, and that is the next title that we're going to talk about, Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, it was so exciting to have Spider-Man back in the same universe as the rest of the Marvel characters, and on this particular outing we had a younger Peter Parker played by Tom Holland, and kind of, I guess it also is a origin for that part, in more sense of like which background story are they going to use, to interact, or how should I say, to join Spider-Man from Queens with the rest of the MCU. And I thought it was a very back to basic, or should we say like a street level hero, rising towards his maturity. So,
but they skipped over the parts of where he gained his spider powers and all that, which I think
that
is
was
really
good,
well established, and we do not need to see that again, and maybe we will, need not to see to Uncle Ben die yet again.
Yes,
so.
yeah, oh man, Uncle Ben, we feel for you. All right, so that was Spider-Man Homecoming, and we're looking forward to Spider-Man 2. I think it's coming in next year or the year after. Yeah, so that's on the list. So Spider-Man definitely very vividly introduced right into the action in Civil War, and now he gets his own movie, in Spider-Man Homecoming, and that was really exciting. If you didn't watch it, please give it a go. I know on cable TV they've been rerunning the previous ones, but actually this one has a very different tone and flavor to it. If I could say, it's the MCU or the Marvel touch way. So yeah, that's Spider-Man Homecoming. And if you thought Guardians of the Galaxy was psychedelic, oh man, when they introduced the first Thor Ragnarok trailer and even the movie poster, as Chris Hemsworth would say, that's like, yeah. So yeah, it's really took it to a next level. Yeah, I thought if I thought like Guardians of the Galaxy was far out and colorful, I thought, wow, Thor Ragnarok, eccentric characters, colorful characters, different lands, the humor, and Hulk versus the Thor. How can it be a bad movie in that? Yeah.
Space never looked that colorful, even with the depth that I have journeyed to.
Yeah, even in Vulcan. Yeah. So, anyways.
Thor Ragnarok, third movie on the Thor franchise, and also leading in very closely, I believe, to the next Avengers movie.
So I think it links directly. If you all have not seen it, please go and see it. It's still available in selected cinemas only, even right now. Yeah, so there's still chance to it. As well, don't forget there are 2 hidden scenes at the end if you haven't heard that review yet. Yeah, we did a review on it, I think.
Yes, we did. You can check out that review on our YouTube channel for Ragnarok. Now we'll take a break for the next movie, which is 5th in our list, away from the superhero genre. We have most recently Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which is certainly seems like the most divisive movie of the franchise, which has split fans among those who love it and those who hate it. And regardless of whether you are in camp love or camp hate, it is no doubt one of these geek pop culture movies that must be watched last year, and to make your more informed decisions with regards to this beloved sci-fi franchise. From my perspective of looking at it logically, there is certainly many plot loopholes, and which of course relates to, I think, lapses in time, as I would be stressed to say that hyperspace travel in that universe seems almost as instantaneous as that in the Kelvin timeline, which I shall disown. But that aside, I think there is also arguments to say that this movie has very much destroyed the elements that fans love. The Skywalker legacy has been discarded out the airlock, and it has pushed in a way to reset the Star Wars universe, let go of the old, and unfortunately that means also the beloved characters that we have grew up with and had space adventures for the last 40 years. But it leaves very open ground to what will happen in episode 9, and perhaps we can hope for a major change in the landscape and makes it a real treat to fans new and old, depending on the touch of Mr. J.J. Abrams, which have also contributed significantly to the Kelvin timeline, which I should not mention again. But I think at least in episode 7 we did not get blinded by lens flare, did we?
Yes.
Fortunately.
Thank you. Yes. But we did get the extreme close-ups though. What? Be careful when you watch IMAX. Yeah, in IMAX 3D. Yeah.
If you have not watched it, Star Wars The Last Jedi is still showing in cinemas nationwide, and if you have watched it, maybe you could take a second round and revisit your opinions, and you might still love it or you may still hate it. Either way, it is an opinion that has, should I dare say, even no, not so. It is more to say we hasn't fractured the Star Wars fan community, but it has definitely sent serious tidal waves into what could be possibly the future of the Star Wars saga.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I didn't want to talk about it. I did watch it too, but yeah, I'll leave it here to Mr. Logic to touch on The Last Jedi.
So let's move back on to the superhero comic book movie genre, which of course the rivals of Marvel is DC, and what has been served last year.
Yeah, and next on our list is Wonder Woman. You know, I'm wearing my Wonder Woman t-shirt, and yeah, apparently a lot of feedback that it was a wonderful movie, and I did think it was a wonderful movie too. But then, of course, I read articles also that have a problem with Wonder Woman. The problem with the movie is that everybody likes it. They're like, okay, so is that also an issue now? Like, okay, you know, like, no, nobody. If there's somebody doesn't have anything bad to say about it, it means it's not good also. Oh my goodness. But anyways, it was great to see Wonder Woman get a solo outing. I think it was very much anticipated. We got Patty Jenkins directing it, also a lady, and I think she pulled up quite a good movie. You know, you want to support that, you know, women girl power thing, and also you want a good storyteller, and I thought she did a great job with that. And it's also out now on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital. And this is not mine, this is Richard's, and Mr. Logic, Mr. Smock, did you see this? Did you? When did you?
We procured this from Amazon.
Mm.
Pun intended, if you got it.
Ah, pun intended. Where did you get this from?
Amazon.
Get it? Okay. Anyways, yeah. So that was Wonder Woman, and after that, we were looking at the big Kahuna, the gathering, or should we say, the uniting of the DCEU heroes, and that took place recently, which is in the month of November, none other than the Justice League movie, and yeah, that also has a lot of mixed opinions about it, but I thought that it was exciting to see all these characters together. I mean, it is pretty new compared to the MCU being how should you say, prepped, or taking its time to tell each origin story. But DC wanted to try something new, and put them all together as how the comics would do, in how like the popular titles will introduce smaller characters, or not say smaller characters, or newer characters, and then later spin off into their own comic series. So yeah, any thoughts, Mr. Logic, on Justice League? It's a much heated discussion about the movie too. Hot and cold. So what do you think?
The previous year, Batman v Superman set a precedent for DC fans to be in that love or hate camp. And the arguments within that were, I think, very, very much heated. But then again, it has probably, the debate took place, but it is less violently discussed.
Okay.
This round for Justice League.
Not being discussed,
probably because the precedence of expectations being set for BVS.
Yeah.
But this is not a movie without production controversy, as we know. The original director Zack Snyder had to step away.
Yeah,
and then incredibly, Marvel's directorial star Joss Whedon came in to rework,
I think rework, also
re-edit,
re-edit.
recolor, re-everything for this movie, which also leads to it kind of looking akin to an Avengers serving, but not, because it's still DC.
Yeah.
We have a more in-depth review of this movie on our YouTube channel. Please go look it up for further discussion.
Yeah.
We are now at number 7, actually, from our top 10 list. Again, this list is not ranked in any order, simply our choice of top 10 must-see geek movies
Of 2017.
Alright. So moving on now, I think, from the comic book genre movies, what do we have?
We have a sequel that is like 30, 40 years in the making.
35
years. 35
Yes,
years.
we have a number of sequels which are very, very long in the making and is gestated in possibly production hell for a number of years.
Limbo.
Yes, but they are finally birthed in 2017.
Yep.
Of which much talked about is Blade Runner 2049. Why 2049? That takes place in almost a number of years later compared to the original movie, which was released in 1982 but was actually dated around our current era. But we do not have mega cities, flying cars, and androids.
Cyborg, android clone.
Yeah. So the movie is fairly lengthy. Non-followers of sci-fi might find it a bit boring at times, but for sci-fi enthusiasts, I think the movie presents very much a visual spectacle of the future, expanding upon the landscape presented by Ridley Scott in 1982. It's amazing what you can do with a budget of like what 200 million compared to what was made in the original movie. It brings back Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard, which is of course a treat. And of course we also got to see Harrison Ford reprise another famous role recently is Han Solo. Unfortunately, I think it was for the last time. But in this case, maybe it won't be for the last time. Anyway, Blade Runner 2049, perhaps not the most successful blockbuster offering of the year, but definitely a sort of sci-fi spectacle with a deeper undertones that should be watched. Up next, another movie sequel which were literally decades in the making, and arguably you might say it is not quite geek pop culture, but when you look and watch the movie, geeks will certainly find very much appeal in the way what's presented. And what's presented is video game culture in Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. This movie released right after
Justice League, Last Jedi, right?
Last Jedi, in fact also released in the year of Last Jedi. In the week of Last Jedi with sneak previews and even topped the Malaysian movie charts. So Jumanji is based on the original 1990s Robin Williams show, but the board game has now evolved into a video game, which I think very much more sinks into the young adult culture. And very much so, and in the way that it's presented, the young gamers have literally been zapped into the world of Jumanji and have adopted the game avatars, of course played by Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and Karen Gillan. That was an exciting, it's a very funny action adventure. It should not be missed. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is still showing in cinemas nationwide. Captain, you have something to add?
And when they first announced this movie, it was like, okay, how are they going to top it, and how are they going to do, what angle are they going to do? Because back then, that Jumanji movie with Robin Williams is very it's engaging. The idea was it's really cool, for getting sucked into a board game or being sucked out of the board game, or the whole concept was just very exciting. So I was thinking how they gonna make it relevant to these days and all. But then when released the first trailer, I was like, okay, they're gonna get sucked into the game, a video game. I mean, that's so Tron, man. But then again, how many people these days actually know about Tron, or what Tron is all about, or what Tron achieved back then, for the movie genre or even geeks. So I thought that would be really cool. Jumanji definitely showing now. It's not to be missed.
Last on our list.
It was difficult to choose 10. It was very difficult to choose 10 for that, list that we have. But we're gonna round it out with number 10 right now, and not say unanimously, but after a short debate, Mr. Logic here, we had to decide that what to put on the list at number 10. We had like only 2 or 3 spots that actually were up for debate. So, and we had to go with
perhaps not a sequel of any other preceding movie. And that choice is?
And the choice is Kong Skull Island. Okay, for those who are throwing up your hands or flipping the table, I can't help it, sorry, but that was such a good movie that was not a sequel and was not linked in any kind or reboot or itself. It was its own, even though Kong has many renditions, but as a part of a universe now, Monster Universe, Universal, is it? By
Shared Universe
of
monsters, which will eventually tie up King Kong with Godzilla and other sort of
whoever's along the way,
antagonists, kaiju.
Kaiju. And Kong Skull Island is a movie that is telling their origin of Kong, a part of a shared universe, as well as also going back and forth towards the Godzilla era, the nuclear experimentation and explosion during the island and all. So this is like, the other angle, the other view of it. And what I particularly liked about it is that this time for a Kong movie, they decided to place it during the Vietnam War era or just after the Vietnam War era. So that was a very familiar war in which when I was growing up, the TV series or even the documentaries or the talk of the town was about that, the Vietnam War. So in the movie, not only you see King Kong in all his glory. Yeah, some did comment about Kong's size in this movie is this, and then he's this size, and then in this movie or whatever. But he's very gloriously represented, and but also the support elements, which is all these Vietnam era military gears and also weapons, the Huey choppers, the napalm, the M60s, and so yeah, it's just the setting of it worked really well, and I thought also the director did really well in presenting it in that kind of retro 70s kind of movie / documentary about a giant monster. Yeah.
The movie also stars Tom Hiddleston, which is always good eye candy for the ladies, and for some reason in the tropical sweaty jungle he's always clean. Must be
some low-key magic there.
Low-key magic, yes. So that's our top 10 must-watch geek pop culture movies of 2017. If you feel to disagree, please post in the comments and we can debate, as well as features on love and hate and so forth. Your opinions are, of course, very much valued to the overall opinion. And again, I have to highlight, these are the top 10 geek pop culture movies released in Malaysia. Malaysia. We did not get the full serving of movies around the world, which may have hit cinemas in US or Europe. So therefore, if it feels a bit limited, it's basically based on our selection of movies which were released in the cinemas.